Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this tutorial on combining your models. Now, yesterday we talked about combining models and combining geodatabases and sharing your data with your colleagues. If you are not sure how to do that yet, make sure to check the video that was posted on YouTube and Model Rooms yesterday. For today, I'm going to give you an alternative on how to combine your models and also a little bit on more on data management, so naming your outputs appropriately and making sure you have all your final products in your final geodatabase. So we're working on the same stuff as we were doing yesterday. We were creating fantastic alligator habitat. Um, so we've got something going on with swamp in the in criterion number 1. Criterion number 2, we're selecting water. Both of these seem to be suitable, and we're actually looking for the overlap of the two. So what's the ideal habitat for that alligator? We'll call them swampy. Now, ideally, what we would want to do is we've got criterion number 1, we've got criterion number 2, but what we actually want is we want the final output in a new geodatabase. So we want to combine everything together. So we're going to make a new geodatabase with, in this case, we can call it combined criteria, or you could call it criteria 1 and 2. Actually, let's go ahead and do that. Criteria 1, 2. Let's go ahead and do that. So that we know for sure this is 1 and 2 combined. Now, before we do so, we have to make this our default geodatabase so that we write our data to the correct pathing. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into the last tool of each of our steps. And now for that LGN, we had a little residual data outside of the research area, so we clipped it at the end. We're going to go into there and into the file path naming. Just double check that we're going into the right geodatabase. And then here we're going to call it criterion, and this was swamp. Hit apply, do that, and we'll run the last tool. Okay, so go ahead and run that last tool. And we're not creating intermediates, so all it's going to do is it's going to render the final map, criterion swamp. We're going to do the same thing for ascent, so just double checking criteria 1, 2, geodatabase, okay, and we're going to call it criterion water. And we're going to run that tool as well. So both of these layers, which are our final layers, and our intermediate maps, which is very important to show those as well, are going to be in one geodatabase combined. Now, if we then want to make a model in which we combine these two final maps, keep in mind that this does mean if you want to change, for instance, a buffer, you have to go back into a different model and you have to change a lot more things. So if you have one model combined where everything is in it, as I showed you yesterday, that does have some advantages. The downside of it is it can look very cluttered. So there can be lots of information going on, lots of different tools. So if you're presenting something, this might actually be a cleaner option to present it, although it might be a little less efficient if you want to have a flexible model. So this model, it's called model at the moment, but we'd like to be completely transparent in what it is, so we'll call it criteria 1, 2. And in here, what we're going to do is we're going to, and we're not interested in any of this on the background at the moment. We're just going to leave that as it is. And what we're going to do is we're going to drag and drop both of our final maps into here. Okay, so we've got a new map, we've got a new model with our intermediate maps, so criterion swamp and criterion water, both combined in one new model. So I said combined, we still have to combine them, so we're going to go ahead and union these. We'll pop union in there. After union, what's next? That's right, add field, because we want to calculate these. And if you remember what I told you yesterday, if we type in add field, right below there, there's going to be calculate field as well. So those are the two that we really want. Right. we'll pop these two in there. These are inputs. The output is criterion swamp union. We can call these criterion. We can call these swamp water combined. Yeah. And remember, under join attributes, we're going to select no FIDs. Okay. And maybe just as an example again, just to make sure that you remember this, I'm going to show you what happens if we run the FIDs. Okay, we're going to add this to our display. I want to have a quick look in that attribute table and look at these guys. These right here. These are the ones that we don't want. Now we can go ahead and delete these manually, but look, we like to automate our steps. We like to have control over everything, so we're going to just remove this and set it to no FID. Look what happens when I run it. There we go, gone. Nice and clean. This is what we're looking for. Add field. All right, we'll call it criteria 1, 2. Go ahead and make that a short. Now this is efficient. I mean, these names that I'm currently using, it's efficient if you have decided on what is criterion number 1 and what is criterion number 2. Naturally, if you have a number allocated these criteria, go ahead and use the name. So criterion water and underscore swamp, or whatever else you want to call it, right? In this case, we're going to call them criteria 1 and 2. Combine these two. Now, all of this is also possible, and you can call it combined criteria if you're going to combine all your 8 maps together. Hey, right, use your imaginations. Instead of 2 maps being it, I've just made 2 for this example. But if you've got multiple maps going on, make sure to pop in extra maps here. Combine all of those in union, right, all the same. Pop the add field in and just call it combined scores, or final scores, or final eco scores, or final socio scores, whatever, to make sure that you can identify exactly what it is that you're adding up here. Right, so we're adding up criteria 1 and 2, and in the expression we're going to go ahead and select swamp suitability plus water suitability. Boom. Okay, I'm going to add these up. Go ahead and run that tool, and because we have our attribute table open, we can see exactly what's happening here. And this is a very familiar site from yesterday. Our zeros and zeros are still 0, or 0 and 1 is a 1, or 1 and a 0 is a 1, and our 1 and a 1 have resulted in a 2. That's perfect. That is exactly what we want it to be. So now we have our final map. We've got our swamp water combined. We've got criterion water, we've got criterion swamp, and we have a very clear overview of exactly what it is that we're looking at. And this helps us. It helps us with decluttering all the things that are happening, decluttering all the data that we're using, decluttering all the intermediate results that we're creating. And all of this is just helping you to ease up your data management, make sure that you can combine your maps properly, and eventually create a product that is reproducible, it's transparent, and it looks good. Yeah. So a somewhat shorter tutorial today, just to show you on how to combine these maps differently than what I've shown you yesterday. If you want to know both, again, have a look at the video on YouTube yesterday, and check this one out as well. Naturally, if you're hearing me say this, you're checking this one out, so good on you there. I'm going to do another quick tutorial on how to add your scenarios, but that's going to be in the next video so that we can keep this one under 10 minutes. For now, from here, best of luck wrapping this up. Enjoy your holidays, and we'll see each other after the holidays. Bye-bye.